Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this one, we are going to plot a graph in ggplot using the stat summary function instead of the geom layers that are already there. So, using the stat summary function, reduces a few steps in your summarizing the data content that is there, and the ggplot is going to directly summarize the data from the dataset that you provide instead of we making the summary separately. All right, let's see that in action. So like always, I'm going to start with calling in the library tidyverse, and the data frame that I'm going to be using is called iris, and it is built into R, so you can also use it to practice and replicate what I'm doing. If I pipe this into a view function, you can see the table containing 4 different variables with a 5th column called species. So the species is having 3 different species of flowers, I guess. The first one is setosa, second one is versicolor, and the third one is virginica. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of these 4 variables. Let's say I'm going to pick the petal length and the species. I'm going to plot a graph accordingly. For doing that, let me go iris once more, and I'm going to pipe this into the select function, which essentially selects the columns that I want. So either you can give the name of the columns or you can put in the column numbers. So if I do petal length, this is 3rd column 1, 2, 3, and for the species it is 5. So I'm going to say 3, 5, and this is going to give me only these 2 columns. You can see the petal length and the species. So now I can group them by the species, and you can see over there groups, there's a group variable which has species which is equals to 3. Okay, so normally now after the group by, I can basically pipe this into a summarize function, which can give me different, summary statistics like mean, standard deviation. For example, if I write mean of petal dot length, this will give me the mean value of the 3 different flowers that are there, 3 different petal length, the mean of 3 different petal lengths. So when we are using the normal geom layers, we need this, but since we are going to be using the stat summary function, we can skip this part and directly go into ggplot. So after this, I'm going to pipe this into ggplot, and I'm going to say aesthetics. So the x is going to be my species, and my y is going to be the petal dot length. All right, and once you hit ggplot, you need to add layers on top of that rather than piping things inside it. So I'm going to hit plus and go to stat summary directly. So stat underscore summary. We're not doing any geom layers because we want the summary statistics to be calculated inside ggplot. Hence we're using stat summary instead of any geom point or geom bar. But inside stat summary, you have an argument called geom, which will take in the geometry of the graph that you're looking for. I'm going to go with a bar plot, which is simple, and I'm going to say fun.data is equal to mean underscore se. So this is going to calculate the mean and standard error of mean, and it will plot the mean values as the upper range of the bars for now. Then after this, we're going to do an error bar. So if I hit Command Enter, it's going to give me 3 bars. This looks pretty gray. So over the top, I'm going to put another argument of fill inside the aesthetics, and the fill is going to be according to the species. So it's going to throw some random colors, 3 different colors for 3 different species. So now if I hit Command Enter again, so this is the graph. So it has put the colors. Just remember, you don't put color over here. If you put color, what happens is it will put the border color instead of the fill color, and it is not going to put anything inside the bars. So if I hit Enter, you can see the border color. If I zoom this, you can see the border color to be different, but nothing is there inside. So in order to put the colors inside the bars, you need to write fill equals to your species. So alrighty. So next, what I need is to get rid of these legends. So to do that, I can just in the first stat summary geom equals bar, I can do show.legend equals false or F to get rid of that legend, because this was redundant as we have the names over here. And now okay, before we go to the error bar, I want to reduce the width to 0.7. Yeah, this looks a little bit better. And after that, I'm going to put another stat summary layer where the geom is going to be error bar, and again it's going to take fun.data equals to mean underscore se. Alright, so mean and standard error, it's going to plot the error bars accordingly. So basically by default it takes in mean underscore se, but if you don't put the fun.data argument over here, it's going to throw you a warning over here. So I don't want to see that warning. That's why I am already specifying it inside the stat summary function. So if I do that, it's going to give me thick ugly error bars, which I can reduce the width to 0.25. Alrighty, that's good. And I want to color the outlines of the bars. For that, I'm going to use color equals, let's say, black. That's good. And what I want to do is I want to show the data points on the bars so that we have a look at we can have a look at the distribution of the data points. For that, I can do a normal geom underscore jitter, so that it gives me the data points randomly placed on the bar. So over that, I'm gonna say alpha is equals to 0.5. This is going to reduce the opacity a little bit. That looks better. And I'm going to say size equals 3 maybe. And if I zoom in, you can see the data points over the graph. Maybe I can squeeze it a little bit. Looks good. Now again, because of this geom jitter, it has created another legend over here. I'm going to get rid of that by saying show.legend is equals to false, and it's going to get rid of that legend. So now we have only this graph. Next, what I want to do is I want to get rid of this gray background. To do that, I can just change the theme to something in black and white. This gets rid of the background. Now I want to get rid of those grids as well. You can use the theme function and say panel.grid is equal to element underscore blank. So get rid of the grids. Now, right now the y-axis label is petal dot length. I want to change it to petal length only. So labs is for labels. You can do the x-axis as well, y-axis as well, and inside this I'm going to say y is equals to petal length. So you get rid of that dot, and I don't want to put the species label on the x-axis because it is already indicated that these are the species. So what I can do is I can just hit x equals to a blank string to get rid of that species. And yeah, that's looking good. I'm going to change this to 0.3. Yeah, and that is looking good, I guess. One more thing I could do is this gap between the starting of the y-axis and the starting of the x-axis. I want to get rid of that. I want the bars to start directly from the line of the x-axis. To do that, I can say scale y continuous. Inside this, expand is equal to, it takes in a vector which is 0, 0. So yeah. Now when I do this, it expands the y-axis a little bit, but some of the points are cut off. So let me change the limits. That is from 0 to what it's going to be. So from 0 to, let's say, 8. And that looks fine. All the points are there, all the data points are there. If I zoom this in, it's going to give me a decent looking graph. And that's about it. That's how you can, use the stats summary to calculate the summary statistics inside ggplot rather than using a summarize feature when you're wrangling the data.